All right, let's get right into this explainer. If you've ever stared down an international funding application, you know they can feel like a total labyrinth, just endless portals, requirements, and paperwork. But today, we're cutting through the noise. We're breaking down the complex DAAD scholarship application process into a crystal clear, highly strategic roadmap for funding your master's or PhD in Germany. We're pulling straight from insider presentations and real alumni experiences to give you the exact framework you need to actually win this thing. So here's the ultimate question. Are you ready to conquer these requirements and unlock a fully funded academic journey? Because look, it's not just about getting an acceptance letter from a German university. It's about securing the financial backing from the DAAD to make that dream happen without drowning in student debt. The stakes are definitely high, but the reward, literally life-changing. To keep things simple, we're treating this application like an epic quest with 5 logical phases. First, we've got the DAAD opportunity itself. Second, essential eligibility rules. Third, crafting core documents. Fourth, navigating the PhD path. And finally, timelines and final steps. Let's get to it. Starting right off with Phase 1, the DAAD opportunity. And here is the ultimate prize we're chasing. Whether you're targeting a 2-year master's degree or a 3 to 4-year PhD, the funding here is incredibly comprehensive. The DAAD covers your tuition, gives you a monthly living stipend, handles your travel allowances, and even pays for your health insurance. It's the whole shebang. They're essentially wiping out every financial roadblock so you can put 100% of your energy into your research. Now, if you're on the master's track, you've got 3 distinct lanes to choose from. First, the General Study Scholarship, which covers basically all disciplines. Then you have the EPOS track, that's specifically for development-related programs. And third, the Helmut Schmidt program for folks pursuing public policy. You absolutely have to identify which of these 3 buckets your course falls into from day one, because it's going to dictate your entire application strategy. All right, moving on to Phase 2, essential eligibility rules. Okay, you really need to burn the number 6 into your brain. This represents the infamous 6-year rule. It's a hard disqualifier, meaning your last degree, so your bachelor's if applying for a master's, or your master's if going for a PhD, must have been completed no more than 6 years ago at the time you apply. If you graduated 7 years ago, well, unfortunately, this specific door is closed. It's a strict filter they use to prioritize recent grads and early career folks. Equally critical is the 15-month residency rule. You cannot have lived in Germany for more than 15 months by the application deadline. So if you've been working in Munich for the last couple of years, you're going to be disqualified. The DAAD is all about international exchange, right? They want to bring fresh, new talent into the country, not just fund people who are already settled there. Beyond the timing, you also have to clear the academic benchmarks. You need a minimum 80% GPA equivalent just to establish a solid baseline. Then there's the language component. Your language certificates can't be older than 2 years. English programs require IELTS or TOEFL, while German-taught tracks need the TestOff or DSH. Oh, and a huge heads up for PhDs. Even if your specific supervisor tells you that you don't need a language certificate, the DAAD online portal usually makes it a mandatory upload anyway. So seriously, just get the test done. Which brings us to Phase 3, crafting core documents. Listen, your motivation letter is not just a rehashed CV, it's a mini narrative. The DAAD makes it super clear that they do not want a one-size-fits-all template. You have to ditch those generic empty lines like, "I've always been passionate about science." No, prove it. You need to connect your specific past internships and academic wins directly to this degree. Talk about actual challenges you faced, the real solutions you put in place, and your tangible impact. Then zoom out. How does your goal actually contribute to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals and your career plan? Keep it highly specific, factual, and strictly between 1 to 3 pages. Now, for your recommendation letters, you generally need one from academia, like a professor, and one from a current employer. And here is an absolute pro tip straight from successful DAAD alumni. Draft these letters yourself first. Why? Because you know exactly what traits make you an asset and which projects actually need highlighting. Write the draft, take it to your professor or boss for their tweaks, make sure it aligns with DAAD guidelines, and, this is a big one, make absolutely sure it gets an official stamp and a real physical signature. All right, let's pivot a bit for Phase 4, navigating the PhD path. So if you're aiming for a PhD, your path splits into 2 distinct routes here.
You've got the individual doctorate, which means you are personally hunting down a specific professor at a German university to supervise your unique project. On the flip side, the structured PhD program means you're applying directly to an established graduate school, like the Max Planck Institutes, which feels a bit more like a standard university application process.
If you go the individual doctorate route, finding that supervisor is basically the boss level of this whole process. You'll want to use the Jurit database, filtering by your specific research area and target city. And when you find a match, please don't just send a generic hello email. Send a highly professional pitch. Include a summary of your master's thesis, a crystal clear reason why their specific lab fits your goals, and a draft of your research proposal. Your ultimate prize here? Unlocking that critical letter of invitation from the professor, officially signed and printed on university letterhead. You literally cannot proceed without it. To actually score that invitation and impress the DAAD committee, your 10-page research proposal has to be bulletproof. It's the absolute core of your application. You start with the current state of research, calling out the exact gaps in the existing literature. Then, your research questions and hypotheses. Next step is methodology. How are you actually going to prove this? What software or experimental designs are you using? After that, you need a highly realistic work plan that breaks down all 48 months of your PhD. And finally, a solid bibliography. Keep in mind, this whole proposal needs to be discussed and pre-approved by your future German supervisor before you even submit it to the DAAD. Almost there. Let's look at Phase 5. Timelines and final steps. When you map this journey out, you quickly realize it requires a ton of foresight. Depending on your country and program, portal deadlines usually drop around July or August. Then, you wait. The actual selection process happens months later, usually around February of the following year. And if you make the cut, your fully funded adventure starts in the winter semester. It's a long game, guys, and it requires some serious patience and extreme organization. When it finally comes time to click submit, remember that formatting is absolutely everything. Stick to the standard Europass format for your CV, especially for the PhD folks. Make sure every single document, transcripts, certificates, translations are saved as clean PDFs. And please, listen to the warning of every DAAD alumni ever. Submit ahead of the deadline. There are thousands of people applying globally, and last-minute portal crashes happen all the time. Do not let a frozen web page ruin months of hard work. I'm going to leave you with one final thought from the source materials we unpacked today. The DAAD isn't just funding a piece of paper. They are funding a future leader, an innovator, a problem solver. So when you sit down to write that proposal or motivation letter, ask yourself, what unique legacy is your research actually going to leave behind? How will your time in Germany truly impact your community back home? Figure out a compelling answer to that, and you are well on your way.